Not really. I mean, I'm pretty good at interviews, so I never really had an issue, I guess.
What was your favorite job that you had?
Paid or unpaid.
So, my name is Kendall Wilson-Lamourine, and I am your career advising coordinator here at Wesley. I was talking to the nursing students today, and one of the questions I asked was, how long do you think your resume should be? It taught me really everything that I know about career development, and that's how I kind of found the passion in working in this field, and why I think it is so important for our college students to know how to market themselves and how to communicate with, if you don't even have a chance to speak in front of somebody. The resume is your first experience with that company. And if they see that and they don't like what they see, you don't even get that. You don't get a chance to sell yourself. So the resume should really be personalized, and it should be something that speaks to you, that communicates what you want to communicate to the employer. One of the biggest topics that I've heard talked about is this branding, like how to brand yourself. And I think that's definitely like it's a buzzword, but it's something that speaks to, especially in this day and age with social media and just all these different types of marketing, it's what stands out. It's how you're communicating to your employer, to your potential employers, but it's being consistent throughout all your different types of interactions to be able to build that brand for yourself. And how the brand is also, like on your resume, you have your objective statement. And so on your objective statement, that's probably one of the most common questions I get is, what is an objective statement? I don't know what this is supposed to be. What does it mean? How do I form this? And the objective statement is really how you communicate. To me, it's how you communicate your values to the employer. So like my objective statement says, to obtain a position utilizing my skills and knowledge at an institution of higher education that provides quality services to their students. So in that objective statement, I'm showing the potential employer what my values are, which is that customer service, which is that the interaction with the students. And that's what can kind of stand out to them if that's what they're looking for. The other way that so that objective statement can be your branding statement. It's kind of like the motto that you live by. And that's why I think consistency is the biggest key in that sense, because it's not just in your interaction with your employers, but it's your interaction in anything that you do, in your community, in your education, in your personal life. It's what you live by. Just like the employer wants to hire you because you're selling yourself and you are going to be a representation of their brand. So you want your brand to align with their brand. So what are some of your experiences? Like what are some of your questions in regards to marketing yourself to employers or your resume or anything like that? Awesome.
One of the hardest jobs I felt like to apply to or to actually secure was a job in retail. I remember like as soon as I turned 16, the first job that I ever applied to was JCPenney, and then I found out I was too young to apply. And then as soon as I turned 18, I applied to Macy's and Journeys. Macy's shut me down because I guess I was going into college and
They didn't want to work with your schedule.
yeah. And Journeys, I had landed an interview, got the job, but after 2 weeks of working there, they were like, oh, due to your work schedule and the fact that you're going to college in a couple months, we can't really hire you or we can't keep you.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like any type of job that, just based off of my experience, any job that has to do with retail, I feel like the criteria is really, really hard for people who are in college, because it seems like the demands they're looking for full-time employees.
I don't know, cause I currently work at Forever 21 and Fridays, so I kind of like retail better than a restaurant.
Yeah.
So. And I feel like this is my first real retail job, so I kind of like it more than restaurants because being around food, it just gets annoying.
Yeah. So do you remember your interview with Forever 21?
It was a group interview. That was my first group interview I ever had.
Wow, okay.
Like usually when I work at restaurants, you know, you get your one-on-one interviews. So it was kind of like different for me because at Forever 21, it was just me and two other people, but it was just different because we kind of like fed off of the same answers, but not really. I mean, I made sure I went first so I could be known. So
and that's why I don't understand why students don't volunteer first in class, because yeah, you guys be the first one. They put it out there. And
plus your answers could be similar. So like if they say something, what am I gonna say? Yeah, I agree with her. That's not making yourself known in the interview. So that's why you gotta say something first.
Yeah. So what was the group interview like, in the sense, like, did you feel like you were competing against them, or did you guys all get hired?
I don't know. I haven't seen them, so I guess I was the only one that got hired. But during the group interview, like they were just asking like our experience. I mean, I didn't even have any experience with retail, but I guess it was a good interview, I guess. But they didn't ask no challenging questions. They just like asked about our personality and things that we do, and they asked if we were in school and what we were in school for, and we wanted to do in the future and stuff like that. So
they were. It sounds like they were really looking for the personality fit.
Yeah.
And that they weren't necessarily as worried about the skills.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted someone who's going to fit in.
Yeah, because I guess with retail you have to like have a really good and know what you're talking about sometimes. So I guess.
Yeah. And well, that's being able to make small talk, being willing to go up to the customers, and even when like getting out of your box, and some people need to do that. So they want to make sure that somebody is willing to do that type of stuff. And I couldn't imagine a group interview. I think that would be.
Yeah, I never had one. It was weird.
So basically, I'm gonna be honest, when I went the interview, I was like, I'm really good, and you need to pay me X, Y because I'm gonna make your company better.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, that's kind of how I was like, I don't know why I did, because when I got there, I was really nervous. But when I saw her, I was like, listen, I'm good. And I'm gonna show you how good I am.
Yeah.
So, and I got the job, and it was really, really cool. And it made my resume like 10 times better.
Wow. Well, and that's a wonderful example. I don't know why you were hesitant to share that. But honestly, those are just the types of situations that make you that much more prepared for all of those other situations. Because sitting in that interview room, the first time I had an interview panel, oh my gosh, I mean, I never went through a group interview, so I had no idea what that was like. But sitting in front of 5 different people, that especially, being a new college graduate, I think the first interview panel that I had was when I interviewed with the state, and I was, I want to say it was 2 years after graduation, so I had a little bit of time, I had a little bit of work experience in the field, but it was still nerve-wracking to have these people with different credentials sitting in front of you, and here I am, this young person that I have no idea how to communicate myself. So having all these mock interviews and these opportunities when you're in school, take advantage of them, because that's what's going to, and take them seriously, because that's what's going to help you promote yourself. But not just the interviews, all these presentations that you have to do. The best example that I have to give is that, so when I was at Wesley, I didn't have to take the public speaking class. It wasn't on my degree plan, but my advisor was a good friend's father, and he said, he knew I hated to talk in class. Like he was also one of my professors for a lot of my classes, so he would pick on me, and he would make sure I answered questions in class, because he knew having something that you're working towards, that should be what you're always doing, and that's in relation to your resume and how you market yourself. That's what you're trying to communicate to the employers, and I think that's kind of the bottom line, that you have to always, that you never know what can come up and how you can deal with it to kind of turn it into a positive and make it work for you. So, any other questions? Okay, well, if you guys do ever want to schedule an appointment with me, I do have appointments on Tutor Track. I can help you with your resume, interview skills, or just even kind of trying to figure out what you want to do. You all have your majors, but what you want to do with your job after that. Thank you.